All right. Good evening, everybody. I have been asked to create a tutorial for conversion of hair. That is to say, specifically rigged hair, which is I'm sorry, rig with a hair with a rig, and how to transfer them over to Dust Studio. So this is what I'll be focusing on today. So I have a rig hair down here of one of the characters that I'm porting right now, and there are two ways to go about it. One is the old method that I've been using all along, which is to say, using the let me just duplicate this so that I can demonstrate. So one is using the MMD export method, which is to say the MMD method here. So I will just show you both ways. This way, you need to have the MMD plugin for Dust Studio. So you need to look for that plugin yourself. Unfortunately, don't I don't have the source for the plugin anymore, right? So currently you have this hair. So I will just go through this. Actually, in my previous tutorials, I have gone through before, but since I'm going to do a specific tutorial for hair, I will just go through all the steps lah. So basically what you want is to have this hair that's already prepared. That is to say, you have gotten rid of all the extra bones, only the hair bones are remaining, as well as the root bone, which in this case is the head bone, right? So these are all the hair bones that controls the model, right? So once you have this, what you do is you select the mesh, you go to the MMD tab. This is the MMD exporter tab, which is a plug-in for, where is it? MMD. So MMD tools, you can find this in the Blender extension. Uh, in fact, if you go to the get extension and you click in MMD, you should be able to find this actually. Right. I have it along with Cat Studio, which is another program. You don't actually need to get Cat Studio. It is useful. There are certain tools that are useful for our for the conversion purposes, but in this case, you just need the export for the MMD export tool. So I have the hair mesh down here and the rig. So I select the mesh, go to the MMD exportation tool. Sorry, I select the skeleton, go to the MMD exportation tool and click on convert model to MMD model. Right, so this is the button down here under model production. Usually I will click on the container instead, because if I click on the container, then um, the resulting MMD model will be within the container. If I click on this skeleton, you can still convert it no problem, but the resulting MMD might not be in the monitor, so might not be in the container. So I will click on the skeleton here and I press and convert. And this time it's inside within the container, or sometimes it will just appear out here. I'm not exactly sure why, but that is the case. So after that, what you want to do, after you convert the MMD model already, you can just leave it like that. You would want to export the model to MMD format, which is to say PMX format, right? So in this case, I have the, I'll just create one hair, and I have this hair down here, and I have a default scale, which is to say 11.7647. This scale is what I use when exporting MMD model to to Dust Studio, because the scale in which you import inside the Dust Studio, I found out that this particular scale is the one that matches the Genesis model. So I have this is basically the uh, model figure, the character that is already had the morphs applied, so I can apply the hair directly. Okay, so this is the figure. You want to copy this, you can use it as well. Just note that I am importing and exporting the model at a 10,000 scale, if I'm not wrong, right? So I will just export this. And then you will also want to export a OBJ format. Okay, so the reason why you do that, so I'll export a Yelan hair. The reason why you want to do this, and selection only, sorry, yeah. The reason why you want to do this, right, is because if you import purely MMD, right, so the next is you go to Dust Studio, then you come to import existing files. You can also import existing file from here, this button. So import existing files, you go to the model that you have, Genshin, Yelan, and hair. Okay, so now you have the PMX format here. Okay, so I will just open, and I am not sure if you can see like, okay, this one isn't too bad actually. This hair isn't too bad. So basically what MMD, when they export it, right, what MMD does is that if you look at the textures, you'll see all these seams down here. Like for example, this particular seam, which is this one, right? It will not be joined together. So for example, this seam is this one here, this one down here. It will not be joined together. It is actually separated. If I'm not wrong, you can actually see the seam right here. Right here, sorry, this line down, there's a line down here, if you can notice. And basically, if you try to deform this, this one is actually not too bad, to be honest. Some models, right, especially low poly models, if you try to deform it, you will notice immediately that that you have tearing, and the mesh isn't working correctly. So this particular MMD is actually not too bad, but I will just go through the actual procedure that I use myself, so that you, if you encounter the kind of situation that I mentioned just now, you won't need to worry about it, because this particular method works basically everywhere. Basically, in all my exportation previously, I always use this method. Okay, so you will import the OBJ and accept. So now you have both a rig MMD model as well as a OBJ model that does not have any rig. Okay, so it's just a model only. Okay, then what you do is you go to this transfer utility. So I have it down here, but I have it as a my own shortcut. I'm not sure whether the layout has the transfer utility down here, because I actually customized this Dust layout quite a bit to my own preference. So some of the things, let me see if I can still remember where to find it. Sorry about that. Okay, so tools, transfer tools, I can't really remember. Setting, I can't really remember where is it. Is it this one? I honestly can't remember. I think it's here. Yeah. So transfer utility down here. Okay. So under edit object transfer utility. So now you have this down here. You will put the MMD inside the scene item, and source scene item, and target scene item is the OBJ. Okay. Then make sure you have the current down here, and then click on more, closest vertices first. So this one basically tells the program to actually snap the vertices to the closest one. That means to say the closest one here to here. Since they are the exact same model, you should be able to achieve a almost 100% match. Okay, so this is the reason why you click on this one. and then you will remove this and this. Okay, so this two basically tells the program to actually parent the, for example, you will want this when you're parenting clothing to a figure, for example. But in this particular case, you do not want the parent, so you just remove these two. Okay, then the rest just leave it as it is and click accept. So now now the MMD you can actually delete off. Now you have the hair that has the rig. So now you see the rig is a little bit of a mess. So you just right click, edit, align all bones. Okay, so now you have a bones, the rig that is like a bit more neat, right? Okay, so after you do all of this already, you just need to go to the, okay, in this case, you will need to rename this head also, because the reason for that is because this figure, the, this bone down here is also named head. So basically, try not to have duplicated names. Okay, so in this case, I will need to go to the drawing editor tool, right click, edit, rename nodes. Okay, so I'll rename this to Yelan Head, which is basically the character's name. Okay, so and done. Okay, so now you have the bone name that's changed already. Okay, next you can put in the textures if you want. Something like that. So textures I will not cover today. This I think I've covered it quite in some other places already, but if not, then you can ask me to do a specific texture. But to be honest, it's basically just filling in all the nodes down here inside the surface tab. So I don't think there's really much to cover, to be honest. Okay, then next, depending on what you want, there are two ways to go about it. The first way is that you can just take this hair and parent it directly under the head. Okay, so the advantage of this, right, is that you can move the head around and the hair will follow. So your character pose, you can just move it around, the hair will follow. Right? So this is easy. But if, for example, you want to do any additional morphs or additional changes to the figure itself, say for example, if I want to scale the head up, then okay, this is the bone part. Let me see if I want to scale. I can't remember which one is that. If I want to scale the face, for example, then it will not affect anything that is like, for example, you are parenting this to the head, so anything that is underneath will not be affected. So your hair won't be affected at all. So if you want to do like I don't know, for example, if you morph elf ears, for example, right? Then the hair, in this case, is still okay because the hair is not covered. But if you go to like for example, a long hairstyle, then you will see the ear poking out directly from the hair without affecting the hair. So that might not be something you want. That will depend on how you want to go about it. Okay, so if you want the morph to affect the hair, the other way is to go to scene identification, which is to say, I can't remember which one is it. Object, scene identification. Yeah. So you go here, then you go to the preferred base and click on Genesis. In this case, mine is Genesis 9 base. So this will tell you will tell the mesh to fit to this particular character. So if I now fit the hair to Genesis 9 and press, now you see it starts to pop up. Then what you need to do is to go to the currently used, click away, click back, you'll see all the morphs that are affecting. So you just remove the head morph and the body morph. In this case, I have both head and body morphs. So depending on what kind of morphs you are using, you might need one or the other. So now the head is now you have the mesh connected to the head. So in this case, that means to say if you put in any additional morphs, if you add in any additional morphs to the head, I am not sure if I have any suitable morphs, to be honest. I non-human. Say for example, if I don't know. Apply the head. Oh, I think I have disabled all the morphs, sorry. So if say for example, in this case, you apply the head, then the hair will actually follow along with the morphs on the head. But in this case, because I actually disabled I'm trying to save space, make the Genesis 9 load faster, so I actually disabled all the morphs. I forgot about that, sorry about that. So in this case, it actually doesn't really matter, but if you want to put in additional morphs to your figure, then using the method that I just mentioned, the hair will follow along with the morph. If you're just purely parenting it to the head, then it will not follow the morph, right? So this is the reason why you do it this way. Okay, so this is the first method, the MMD transfer method, right? So the second method, so let me just delete this one. So the second method is, I will also delete this. Okay, so the second method is basically using this method, which is Dust Studio transfer, if I didn't remember wrongly. So if you go to the extension, Dust, is it add-on? Blender to Dust Studio. Okay, so this one is a paid product. It is, if I didn't remember wrongly, it's $25. Okay, so look for this guy called Metronius. And basically what it does is that it can do a direct conversion from Blender, one click of a button, go over to Dust Studio. Okay, so in this case, for example, but you do need to have a bit of preparation. So I will show you this demonstration. I will click directly and you see what's the result. So this is the export setting, right? So default setting is perfectly fine. I don't think I changed any of them except for excluding all of these items and all of these items, the animation and the timeline, the environment and all that. So all those I exclude. But other than that, I don't think I did anything else in terms of setting. So I will just export directly and you will see that the figure actually goes a bit haywire, right? Okay, so because of this problem, I actually talked to the developer for a little bit and found out that there are certain steps that in this case you need to fulfill, or you need to process before you can use this step. Okay, so if you don't need to rig this model to any item, say for example, if you're trying to transfer over a house or building, stuff like that, a rig building, you can move the housing around and stuff like that, then you do not need to go through this step usually, right? You still want to check whether the scale is correct or not and all that. But in any case, for me, I think this is actually it's easier to just go through this two step and make things easier for you. So you just select the mesh. In this case, you select the mesh, okay? And then you click on alternate P. So what does alternate P does is, and you will choose clear parent and keep transformation. Okay, so what this does is that it will actually clear the parent. So that means to say your mesh is no longer parent to this rig, but it is still affected by the rig. So if you move the bones, right, your hair is still affected by it, but it is no longer parented to it. Okay, then secondly, you want to press Control A. Control A to apply all transformation. Okay, so the reason for that, right, is because, let me just go back. Okay, so now now you are under the control, you're still parented to the rig, right? Then your location and rotation, these are the values. But after you press the clear transformation, sorry, I have to go back quite far. Okay, so these are the rotation and the rotation and the location, which is to say the position of your mesh, right? But after you clear transformation, these are the numbers that will appear. So they will screw up when you port over. So because of this, you need to press Ctrl A and apply all transformation, turn everything to 0 again. Okay, after this is done, then you go to the DAS Studio, the the plugin, and transport this again. So now you see it actually fits properly. Okay. One thing you do need to take note of, right, is that if you have any modifiers, right, other than the what they call this amateur modifier, which is to say this is the amateur modifier. This one you don't need to touch. But if you have any subdivision or any other modifiers, actually I only know about the subdivision. The rest I'm not very certain whether it's necessary or not. But if you have a subdivision, apply first. Okay, so after you apply it, then your mesh, it becomes the applied what do you call it? The subdivide is applied to the mesh. Then you export, because this one they actually doesn't export. I am not sure whether it actually will if I include any of this here, but easier you just leave it like that. So once you export already, you can go to the bones. You see the bones are actually in the right position, but rotation is a bit wrong. So what you do, same thing, you go to align and you align all the bones. You will see the rotation has actually changed a little bit. Okay, so this will allow you to move the bones easier. So the alignment is a little bit better. Okay, so these are the two ways that I know of. You can actually throw in the textures again, right? So, oh yeah, because I forgot to mention, because this one will actually I actually asked them to transfer in the materials and the textures. Sometimes it's useful, right? But in this case, they actually transferred the material over. So you will notice that some of the stuff down here is a little bit different from, say, for example, a normal mesh, right? So the colors and all that are a little bit out. So you do need to adjust all this as well after that, right? So this one, for example, you need to change it to white, and the glossiness you need to go back to reset value to 0. Okay, so these are the changes that you do need to make, right? So oh yeah, one more thing, before I forget, this item, the DAS Studio can only transfer principled BSDF textures, right? So if you do not, if you have any other shader applied to this model, then they will all not be transferred over. Principled BSDF and principled BSDF. Okay, so if you do not have, if any other shader is applied, right, then you will see down here your shader is basically a blank. So yeah, so your surface shader is actually a blank. Okay, so if you do need to make sure that all your shader is principled BSDF, then you just click one time and you get this and all the hair down here. So then you will need to change a little bit of stuff. Say for example, the animation is always on. I'm not sure why. Yeah. So and this like that. Alternatively, you can also make sure that you can also click off the material, and then you select, then you transfer over with default material. Okay, but the material name will disappear. So it depends on how you want to go about it and what you want to do. I always find it easier to have the material, because if you have multiple textures applied to this, for example, then it is harder for you to it is harder for you to differentiate them later on if you need to, right? So basically these are the methods by which you can actually transfer your rigged mesh over to from Blender to Dust Studio. Okay, so that is how the two methods I know of to do this. Okay, so if you have any further questions, you can comment in the video. I will try to answer if I can. If not, if it requires more explanation, then I will create another video to explain it in more details. Okay, so hope this helps. I'll see you the next time I create another in the next video, basically. Okay, so good night and enjoy your creation. Bye bye.